The book of Mark, chapter 13 and verse 8. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be earthquakes in diverse places, and there shall be famines and troubles. These are the beginnings of sorrows. First off, giving all praises, honor, and glory unto the Most High Power, Yahweh, in the name of His only begotten Son, Yahweh Shai. Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Barakatah Rachak Kodash. Bahashum, Yahweh Shai, Bahashum, Rachak Kodash. Shalom, and double honors to the elder apostles of Great Millstone. Shalom to the elders in the Akim and the Akwat of the hopeful elect. Shalom. So-called blacks, Latinos, Native American Indians, or the lost 12 tribes of Israel. I just want to go into a quick video entitled Food Collapse in Europe, Coming to America Soon. So here, the title here says what? Food collapse. UK, that's the United Kingdom, supermarkets rationing vegetables as food shortages worsen. And as you know, the prophets and teachers and myself as well, we've been prophesying, that that it's not going to get any better according to biblical prophecy. And this is biblical prophecies, end time biblical prophecies coming to pass before our very eyes. It's only going to get worse and worse because the wicked elites have a end game as well, but the Most High will destroy them before they fill their belly, because what they're trying to do is swallow up mankind, but the Most High is going to deliver the elect and break the hammer of the earth in pieces. And who is the hammer of the earth? The wicked elites, the Edomites that rule the earth right now, the so-called white race. So we'll go ahead and read here. It says, supermarkets in the United Kingdom, such as Aldi, Morrison's, Tesco, Sainsbury's, and Lidl, have begun rationing vegetables that customers can buy. So how come it's not all of the food, right? How come it's not the vegetables, protein, and carbs, and water? It's because the serpent, the so-called white race, they maneuver like a serpent. Gradualism, right? When they wrap around their prey. When a serpent wraps around, a snake wraps around its prey, what does it do? Squeeze them, right? And every time that prey exhale more to try to get some more breath, what does that snake does? Tighten some more. So that's what they're doing. They're starting with vegetables, and then they're going to tighten some more and go to food, and that's what they're doing, right? So have begun rationing vegetables that customers can buy, but this appears to be a ploy to normalize food shortages, according to some pundits. Many mainstream media commentators, MSM, they didn't have to abbreviate that, but that's neither here or there. They love abbreviations, but that's one of the annoying things about Esau Edom. But anyways, Salaki. So many mainstream media commentators believe the food rationing was brought about by Brexit. Brexit is a compound word which means British exit, as the UK's withdrawal from the European Union that took effect in January 2020. However, Mac Slavo of SHTF plan, and for those that don't know, SHTF means shit hit the fan. So the Edomites on the left hand side, they're all on the left hand side, but the Edomites, there's the Edomites that calls out their own people, for their rulers, for what it is. They know that society is about to collapse, and they have quote unquote truth outlets that are underground, and they know that the society is about to collapse, so they call it when shit hit the fan. But actually it's biblical prophecy. The Most High is bringing this place to the ground, because you know what, real quick, let's get it, because this is what, for them, they call it SHTF, shit hit the fan, but this is what the Most High calls it. Isaiah 47:1. Come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon. And that virgin daughter of Babylon are the Edomites, because this is Babylon the Great. They're the daughter of Babylon, and they've become greater than Babylon because they are over the four corners of the earth, sitting upon many waters, the whore America. So that dust represents falling from their high throne. And where's dust at on the ground? It's going to be a hard fall, so hard that it's going to be dust flying, and that also goes to the thermonuclear missiles ultimately too, because that's how they're going to ultimately be brought down through the missiles. O virgin daughter of Babylon, sit on the ground. There is no throne. See, they were on their throne upon all the earth, upon all the nations, but not anymore. O daughter of the Chaldeans. The Chaldeans goes into the ancient Babylonians, wise men and the witches and warlocks and the witchcraft and sorcery that they were performing, the magicians, the astrologers, all of the wickedness on the left-hand side under Satan. Putting that covering over the citizens' eyes and deceiving the people, the masses. For thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate. See, because everyone came over here to everybody was getting on boats illegally, coming over here to the Americas. They never built a wall to stop them, right? Like the hypocrite, the joy of the hypocrite is for a moment. They come to the Americas for that quote unquote American dream, but actually it's a nightmare that was disguised as a dream. So going back to the article, and I'll leave this article in the link in the description so you can read the whole thing. I'm gonna get a couple pieces here, grab some precepts and close out like I always do. So, however, Max Lavo of SHTF Plan thinks this reason makes little sense. This is because the bulk of the UK's vegetables come from either Morocco or domestic sources, the latter depending on the weather. Both of these are advantageous for the public to believe regarding the plans to install a new world order, totalitarian slave system using climate change as the scapegoat, remarked Slavo. They're calling it a carbon footprint and the carbon in the air and weather. So this is just the Edomites' plan to lay blame on different things like natural things this is going to save society. So we have to ration it, and you have to have a particular device to be able to purchase this stuff. And we know where that leads. As I made a video, all roads lead to Revelation 13, 16 through 17. So it says, Kit Knightley, a contributor to the Off Guardian news outlet, also put in his 2 cents on the issue. Ireland has been affected too. Plus, we're only 5 months removed from France and other EU nations facing their own catastrophic food shortages. That is supposing there are real shortages, not just psyop nonsense like the toilet paper fiasco at the beginning of the pandemic. One way or another, they have been engineered. Because the masses, they've been dumbed down by the government, the so-called Illuminati, because they're so simple till when back in when the first COVID lockdown hit, what happened? You would think that everyone was going to, be going for the food, but there were lines from the toilet paper section, the paper towel toilet paper section, all the way to the front door. Because that's what I seen it with my, when I went inside of the store. I'm walking by the long line. I'm going for the food, and I'm thinking thank you for being in line over here, because now I get to go over here and have my pick and get, pick from the food that's still left over, right? And everybody's standing in line foolishly for some toilet paper. You can't eat toilet paper, right? So people are pretty dumbed down and dumb these days. So it says globalists using food to enslave the population. Analysts have echoed this speculation and have blamed government worldwide for intentionally creating these shortages. And ultimately, the Most High steers the hearts of the kings of the earth. So this is the Most High doing it, to bring in the mark of the beast, to go ahead and get this party going for the Messiah to return. and redeem the elect, the 1/3 of Israel. On the other side of the fence, authorities are pointing their fingers at whatever else they can to convince people that enslavement and their salvation are the only way. Because the Satan shall present himself at Satan will make himself could transform himself into an angel of light and his ministers. Because that's what they're doing. They're trying to say, a lot, if not all of this famine is orchestrated. Well, it's orchestrated mainly to bring in the market, the Revelation 13:16 through 17. But this is all the Most High is doing, because the society is there. The iniquity of the earth is fulfilled, and it's time they're ripe for judgment, and it's time for the Most High, through the prophecies, he's saying it's time to bring judgment upon the earth and send his right arm, who is his only begotten son, Yahushua, to redeem the elect and bring judgment upon everybody on the earth that's not a part of that elect. Chiefly the militaries, because there will be some that will be the citizens. They're going to get rounded up as well that are not, burnt up, right? They're going to go into captivity. As Revelation 13:9 through 10 says, he that lead into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killed with the sword must be killed with the sword. And here's the patience and faith of the saints. Because the armies are going to get destroyed by the Messiah. And then there's going to be a remnant of the heathen around. They're getting rounded up for slavery to build up our kingdom of heaven. So like I said, I'll leave the link to the description and the in the description. Leave the link to the article in the description. Let's go ahead and grab some precepts. So that famine, they say it's getting worse, right? So we'll go to Jeremiah 51 and verse 9. Because it won't get better. It's only going to deteriorate more and more. So we'll go ahead and get verse 8. Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. And that's Babylon the Great, America. This is a future Babylon right here in Jeremiah 51. Because Babylon is already, well, this is also, because it's a surface level and a deeper level when you look at it with the spiritual lens. Because if ancient Babylon fell the same way, fell this way too, then what about the new Babylon? It's the same exact, spirit of Satan. And because Babel means confusion. And we know America is great confusion. And it spread its tentacles throughout the earth. And they're going to fall the exact same way ancient Babylon fell, only worse because it's even greater. So verse 8, Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. Howl for her. Take balm for her pain. If so, she may be healed. And that balm goes, that's like a healing balm when you get on a micro level, when we get a cut or something, you can take some balm to heal. But this is a country wound and a rulership wound that will not heal for America today. Verse 9, we would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Forsake her. Because all countries that's been getting money off the backs of the Israelites' wounds, so-called Black Latinos, Native Americans, they're going to retreat back into their own land, and then they're going to all burn America with fire, and they're going to be destroyed as well when the Messiah returns. Forsake her, and let us go every one into his own country. You see, for her judgment reacheth unto heaven. Why? Because their iniquities are accomplished. It's time for judgment now, and is lifted up even to the skies. There's so much wickedness that's been piled up over the last 500 years in Babylon the Great here in America, right? Now the Most High is like, okay, it's that time. We're in those end times now. Like the movies like The Book of Eli, that's coming real soon, with Denzel Washington in that apocalyptic movie, and I Am Legend with Will Smith, and so forth and so on. All of these apocalyptic movies. But the Most High will protect and preserve the elect. And that's why the famine is not. Everyone was thinking. Everybody seen that the government lifted the mandates and the mask mandates, and everybody, as soon as that happens, everybody goes back to just living a riotous life. And all the women, as soon as it gets a little warm outside, what do the women do? They wear as little clothing as possible. And, women walking around like looking like prostitutes, and the men or whoremongers, and they're adulterers. And it's just a very filthy, defiled, faithless society, right? This filth is just, reached an all-time high. The book of Amos, chapter 4 and verse 9. I have smitten you with blasting and mildew. When your gardens and your vineyards, a vineyard is what an olive garden. And that's where, wines and all of that, they live in deliciously here in America. Just like the ancient times, the Most High's judgment has the same highly effective but age-old blueprint. Destroy the food and bring down a nation through the different plagues and the famines and the pestilences. When your gardens and your vineyards and your fig trees and your olive trees increased, the palmer worm devoured them. Ye have not yet have ye not returned unto me, saith the Lord Yahweh B'Hashem Yahweh Shai. Because we know Israel, we went off and this is why we're in this hell we've been in for the last 500 years. But our captivity, our punishment is accomplished. See, it's a twofold, right? The Israelites, our punishment from the Most High, that's righteous and just. We deserved it. Our punishment has been accomplished now. And the wickedness and the sins of Babylon the Great, America, the so-called white race, their sins are accomplished. So now, as we're about to get released from our prison sentence, the Edomites are about to now go into that prison sentence and be judged by the Most High, by Hashem Yahweh Shai. So when you go into that word blasting, it says blighted or blasted thing. Blighted, blasted. And then down here in 2, it says blight of what? Of crops. So that's that famine. So ultimately, it's the Most High doing it, whether the so-called government is forcing it or not. The Most High, what does the Most High does? What does the Most High has in his hand? The heart of the King of the earth is in the Most High's hand. He steers it. He steer it whithersoever he want. He chooses, right? So when you go into the blight, because this is all to bring in the world war, the mark to bring in the salvation shortly after that. So blight, a plant disease, typically one caused by fungi such as mildews, rust, and smuts. So in the similar words right here is what? Disease, canker. The word canker goes into cancer, infestation. So a plant disease. So a plant disease goes into the Most High plaguing the crops of the people's food, and that's that famine. And then even if it's both naturally in the ground, and then also through the Most High putting on the spirit of man to do that, the wicked least of this earth. So let me see. I look at my notes. It says, so the food supply, is getting low, and what's going to happen is going to usher in that deal, because he's going to ration the food, and we know everything he does is pure venomous, right? So in order for someone to be able to get that, they're going to have to do what? Get a particular device, because they're all roads lead to this right here, which was shortly after that time of trouble, as in Mark 13:8 said, famines and troublings. And that trouble goes into Jacob's trouble, which is going to be that trial period that's going to test every man upon the earth, whether or not they're going to get that device to wave their hand to be able to eat a piece of bread, right? But the Most High will provide for the elect. So don't get that thing in your hand. Just trust in the Most High. He's going to put food in your hand, not a device. Satan's going to put a device in your hand, right? To put food in your hand. All you have to do is have faith in your spirit, and the Most High will put food in your hand and sustain you until he sends Yahushua to return. Revelation 13:16. And he causeth all. That word cause goes into he forces all. Rationing food, depending upon the KBs, that's what he's going to do to you if you are weak and fall to that, and which will bring sure destruction. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell. You can't buy with the Christianity philosophy, as too many Israelites that know they're Israelites that teach falsely in a spiritually retarded manner teach this. It's actually spiritual retardation if you truly believe that to ignore buying and selling. The mark cannot. It's impossible for a mark to be spiritual when you have to physically, carnally buy something or sell something, right? Go to Amazon, put up a product to sell it, or eBay, or buy on eBay or whatever, right? Or go into a physical store. It's like verse 17. And that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. So verse 18, here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding. So anyone teaching that Christianity is a mark or any spiritual philosophy, they don't have wisdom. Let him that hath understanding, they don't have understanding or wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. That's 666, 2/3 of mankind. Chiefly, the Bible is written by the Israelites and for the Israelites through the Most High, and through the Most High sending His Holy Spirit upon the prophets that wrote this. Through Yahushua blessing the Israelites to be the chosen nation, to receive the divine prophecies from the Most High, to be the Most High's apple. We're the apple of the Most High's eye, which is a blessing, that indescribable blessing there. So that's 2/3. That's 666. That's 2/3 of Israel that's going to fall to this judgment, and then mankind as a whole, a lot of them going to fall as well. Salvation is of the Jews, which is ultimately of the Israelites, and captivity will be to the heathen, to serve us the way we serve them. Isaiah 14:1-2. So with that being said, I hope this video is edifying. The waters of the Ruach HaKodesh for another video. So next video I say, Shalom.